Yo, what is good, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to Knicks Media. This is Richie, and in this video, we're going to be talking about Taj Gibson and break down his season for the New York Knicks and how much of a big role he played in the success for the Knicks playoff run. He filled in for Mitchell Robinson. You know, he became the backup center behind Nerlens Noel. We signed him in the middle of the season, and it was awesome to have Taj Gibson back. The veteran presence he brought. I'm excited to break down the stats and everything he brought to the New York Knicks. If you guys do not know, I have a whole series here on my channel where I break down each individual player and go over their season recap in 2021, break down their stats, go over what they did well, go over if they're going to come back as a free agent, because as we know, we have a ton of pending free agents, and Taj Gibson is indeed one of them. Before I hop into this video, I just want to mention, if you guys want to follow me over on Instagram and Twitter, that is at NYKnicks_media. And if you're new to Knicks Media, make sure you smash that subscribe button and like the video if you enjoy. With that being said, let's get right into Taj Gibson. So this man is definitely a fan favorite. We signed him in the middle of the year, and he came in and did so much for this team. He was low-key the heart and soul of the squad. He brought a veteran presence. He understands the Tom Thibodeau system more than anybody else. Him and Derrick Rose obviously know the system, and it was so awesome because we loved Taj already because he was on the Knicks 2 seasons ago, and we knew what he brought to the table, that veteran, you know, center, power forward. You know, he is a guy that can help out the young guys, implement the culture, you know, be that veteran presence in the locker room when we deal with adversity. He has that experience. He knows what it's like. He's very wise. He knows basketball more than anybody else on this team, to be honest. So for him to come in the locker room with such a young team, it was so pivotal, you know, and I love how he already had experience as being a Knick. It wasn't like we just signed him and he was making his Knick debut. He was coming back to the Knicks, and he was coming back to reunite with Tom Thibodeau and Derrick Rose, and we go to the playoffs with Tom Thibodeau and Taj Gibson and Derrick Rose. So it was awesome to see that, and Taj Gibson just provided so much needed depth at that center position for us. He was our energizer bunny, crashing rebounds, getting dunks, blocking shots, playing amazing defense. So Taj Gibson was such a big part to this team, and shout out to him because he really provided so much needed heart. I felt like he really made this team closer together because of his, you know, energy and his personality and his sure leadership. So let's get into Taj Gibson's stats for the New York Knicks in 2021. He averaged 5.4 points per game, 5.6 rebounds per game, 1.1 block, and shot 62.7% from the field. So this is very solid numbers for Taj, coming off the bench all throughout the season. As we know, Mitchell Robinson went down with an injury, and he was unable to play all season long. So Taj became the backup center, and he even started the games in the playoffs because Nerlens Noel was dealing with an ankle problem, and Taj Gibson was starting, and for the rest of the playoffs, didn't really work out because we didn't win. But still, Taj Gibson played a big role for this Knicks squad, and he did well. I mean, 5.4 points off the bench with 5.6 rebounds and averaging just over a block per game. You can't ask for more for someone that's 35 and just turned 36 years old. He is a guy that provided so much needed energy to the squad, especially at such a old age at 35. And let's get right into his strengths, what he did well for the New York Knicks this season. He brought the wisdom, the Thibs system and leadership quality that he brought is something that us Knicks fans don't really know about because we don't see it. We don't see behind the closed doors. We're not in there with the practices. We're not there with the coaches meeting. We're not there when he's talking to Obi Toppin and Mitch and Nerlens and all these, even RJ. We're not there when Taj is talking to them. I guarantee all the young guys look up to Taj Gibson as somebody like, I want to understand everything from this guy's brain because he went through so much. He was with Tom Thibodeau all the way back in Chicago, even in Minnesota. He knows the system more than anybody else besides Derrick Rose. So he was a guy that really helped out the young guys. It was like that father, another coach in the building, but he was also playing so well on the floor. Another thing he did well in was defense. He provided very well needed defense because, like I said over and over again, he knows the Tom Thibodeau system, so he was just instinctually so comfortable with the system in place on the defensive side of things, helping out everybody rotate, blocking shots, averaging over a block per game. He was doing a very good job at being that anchor of the defense whenever he was on the floor, and I felt like his defense is less of his athleticism and being able to go up there and block the shots. It was just him understanding the system and his defensive instincts, getting into this passing lanes, communicating, helping out on pick and rolls, double teaming when needing to be. So Taj Gibson on the defensive end did such a great job. Another thing he did was provide a playoff performance. He did very well well in the playoffs because, like I mentioned, he started in the playoffs, so he actually was one of the best players. Obviously, the playoff performance from the Knicks as a team was very disappointing. We did not see the Rando we expected. Derrick Rose and Taj Gibson are the only two players that looked like they were ready for the playoffs, and hey, those are the two players that actually had real playoff experience, so that tells you what playoff experience does in this league. So he definitely helped out with the playoff performance. Another thing he did well in all season was rebounding. He was probably the most efficient rebounder on the team besides Julius Randle, because we were lacking the defensive rebounds all the time. Whenever we would play lockdown D on the perimeter, we would force the opponents to put up a contested shot. They would miss it, but then we don't get the defensive rebound, and that causes the opponents to get an offensive rebound, and then they get second chance points, and that would hurt us all season long. But Taj Gibson, he did a lot for us on crashing the boards. Another thing is his heart and energy. I already went over this, but he really brought this team together. I felt like his heart and his soul, and he was, grew up in the streets of New York City, and he was just a guy that loved this squad. He was destined to be here. It just had that feeling, growing up in New York, reuniting with Tom Thibodeau, reuniting with Derrick Rose, being in the playoffs with the city of New York, being with in Madison Square Garden. It was one of those feelings where Taj Gibson was very appreciative. You all heard that interview where he got a little emotional, saying like, this is surreal. Like, I can't believe I'm here right now, being at the Garden with the Knicks in the playoffs, hearing the roar from the crowd. It was just a surreal moment for Taj Gibson, and us Knicks fans appreciate Taj so much. And then the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to Taj Gibson is, will he be back next year? So he just turned 36 years old. If I'm the Knicks, I'm re-signing him, man. Why would you not want this man on your team? Even if we re-sign him, he can be that, third string center where we either re-sign Mitch or re-sign Nerlens, or we draft a center, or we trade for a center. We don't know what we're going to do on this roster. But if I'm the Knicks, I re-sign Taj Gibson, he can be with that third unit where if there's an injury to our starting or backup center, Taj Gibson can come in. And he's such a great person to come off the bench. He's such a great person to not even play if everybody's healthy. He can be the wise guy in the locker room, keeping everybody together, making sure that the young guys are doing their jobs, and they can help him out mentally. There's so much that Taj Gibson brings to the table. So if I'm the Knicks, I bring him back on a cheap deal. He can be that third string option where if there's an injury to our starter or backup, he can come in and play good ball. And I feel like he plays very well for his age. He has a lot of energy. He has a lot of left in the tank, and I feel like he has a lot of basketball left in him. So let me know down below, would you guys want Taj Gibson with the Knicks next season? I'm pretty sure most of you guys would agree. Some people say, hey, Taj Gibson's a little old, we should go younger, bring someone else in. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down below in the comment section. So make sure you comment down below your thoughts if Taj Gibson should be with the Knicks next year. And that does it for this video. Stay tuned for more. Make sure you like if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Let's go Knicks. Peace.